guys, it's me Jess here and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to share with you how I make my ruched cut out dress. This dress have a ruched design at the front, the cut out from two sides to the open back and in midi length, so it's quite sexy. That's why it's perfect for a vacation outfit. I hope you like it and try it out, and let's get started. The first step is making the pattern for the dress. To make the top baddest pattern, I draw two perpendicular lines first. At the cutting point between two lines, I mark out on the horizontal line 2.5 centimeters, then drawing a straight line from that mark. After that, I mark up at 8 centimeters, which is a half of the neck side of the dress that I want on that line. Then I draw a horizontal line from this mark to the straight line next to it. After that, I draw another line to connect this mark to the first cutting point. From the middle of this new line, I draw a new one connected to the mark on the first straight line. Then I draw a curved line going through the middle of this new line to the cutting point and to the neck mark to create the neckline for the back bodice. From the end of the neck, I mark out 15 centimeters, which is a half of the inside shoulder. Then drawing a perpendicular line after that. The length of this line will be 3.6 centimeters, which is 1/10 the shoulder side. Then connect the end of this line to the neck to finish the shoulder line for the back bodice. After that, I draw a straight line from the end of the shoulder line to cut the horizontal line. From this cutting point, I mark out 16.5 centimeters, which is 1/5 my bust side. Then drawing a straight line based on that mark. After that, I keep drawing another straight line at 3 centimeters from the previous one. This will be the bust line of the back bodice. The width of the bust line will be 22 centimeters, which is a quarter of my bust side plus 1 centimeter. From the end of the shoulder line, I draw a horizontal line to cut the upper bust line. From this cutting point, I mark it at 2.5 centimeters inside. Then connect this mark to the end of the shoulder line by a new line. After that, I draw a curved line from the end of the bust line going through the middle of this line to the end of the shoulder line. It will be the sleeve line of the back bodice. From the top of the back bodice, I mark down at 36 centimeters, which is the length from the shoulder to over the breast. It's around 5 centimeters above the belly button. Then drawing a straight line from that mark. The length of this straight line is 19 centimeters, which is a quarter of the under bust side. Then connect the end of this line to the end of the bust line to create a side line for the back bodice. After adding 1 centimeter for seam allowance, you will have the back pattern of the top bodice. To make the front pattern, I copy the back pattern first. From the end of the pattern, I mark up 8 centimeters, which is the width from the under bust to the middle bust. It will be the dip of the neck that you want. Then connect this mark to the top of the neckline. From the end of the pattern, I mark out 4 centimeters, which is the half of the whole of the ruched area I want to create later. From the end of the side line, I mark up 4 centimeters, which is the height of the cutout at the front of the dress that I want. Don't make it too high as it can't cover your breast. Then connect all the marks together. This will be the breast area of your dress, and we will have the gathering fabric there to cover the breast and also the ruched part too. That's why I increase the width of this area big at two sides. Because the new front neckline is shorter than the previous one, so I make it a big curve to have the same length as the previous neckline. I also redraw the sleeve line of the front pattern a bit, then adding 1 cm for seam allowance, except 1.5 cm at the ruche area. And here's the front pattern of the top pattern. Because we have the cut design at the side of the front pattern, so I go back to the back pattern to revise it a bit. I copy the length of the side line from the front pattern to the back pattern first. Then I draw a slightly curved line from the side line to make the open back part of the dress bigger, but you can keep it straight if you don't want the open back too big. Don't forget to add 2 cm for seam allowance for the curved line after that. And here's the back and the front pattern of the top pattern. Moving to the bottom dress pattern, I draw 2 perpendicular lines first. From the cutting point between 2 lines, I mark out at 4 cm on the horizontal line. It's the length of the cutting part that I want, then drawing a straight line based on that mark. The length of this line will be 6 cm, which is 1.5 times the width of the top pattern I made before that. From the cutting point, I mark up at 16 cm on the straight line, which is a quarter of my waist size. Then connect this mark to the end of the other straight line I drew before that to create the cutting line of the front bottom dress. From the straight line, I mark down on the horizontal line 23 cm, which is a quarter of my hip size. Then drawing another straight line from it. The length of this line will be 23 cm, which is a quarter of my hip size. Then connect the end of this line to the end of the waistline to create a side line for the front bottom dress. From the top of the pattern, I keep marking down 73 cm, which is the length from the under bust to over the knee. It's the length of the dress that I want. Then drawing a straight line based on that mark. This line will cut the side line at one point. From the end of the side line, I mark up 1.5 cm. Then connect this mark to the other end of the ending line. Based on this new line, I draw a slightly curved line to finish the ending line of the bottom dress. At the top of the front bottom dress, I draw another straight line at 4 cm next to it. It's 2 times the width of the fabric hole I will create there later. Then redraw the cutting line of the front bottom dress a bit. Adding 1 cm for seam allowance at the ending line, the side line, and the cutting line, and we will have the front pattern of the bottom dress after cutting. To make the back pattern of the bottom dress, I copy the front pattern first. Then I increase the width of the waistline 4.5 cm, which is the gap between a quarter of my bust size minus a quarter of my waist size. That means the total width of the waist from the front to the back will be the same as the bust size, so you can wear the dress later. As I want to make the open back of the dress a bit bigger, I make the waistline at the back bottom dress a bit curved, but you can keep it straight if you don't want the back too open. Adding 2 cm for seam allowance for the curved line, and you will have the back pattern of the bottom dress after cutting. Now, let's make this dress. I use 2 meters of thick chiffon fabric for this DIY. I start with the top part of the dress first, cutting the back pattern of the top part in faux fabric. From the end of the back part, I draw a curved line 3.5 cm away from the ending line. After that, I fold the end fabric inside around a half centimeter first, then keep folding it to the line just drew before it. It will create a fabric hole with over 1 centimeter width to put the elastic band through later. I cut a 38 cm length up 1 cm wide elastic band. is the half of the under bust side. After putting the elastic band through the fabric hole, sew two ends of the elastic band to the fabric to keep them from moving. Moving to the front pattern, I cut a 2 cm width fabric to connect to the cutting line of the front pattern. Then fold the end fabric inside around a half centimeter. Then keep folding it to the line just right before that. Then sewing to create a fabric hole. And we will finish the top patterns after that. After that, I fold the end fabric inside around a half centimeter first, then keep folding it to the line just real before that to create a fabric hole for the elastic band to go through later. So make sure the width of the fabric hole should be a bit bigger than the width of the elastic band you will use. I cut a 32 cm elastic band, which is a half of my waist size, to go through the fabric hole, then sewing two ends of the elastic band to the fabric to keep them from moving. After that, I connect the front and the back of the bottom dress together at two sides. To finish the end of the bottom dress, I fold the end fabric inside 2 times and sewing. To make the ties, I cut a long fabric with 3.5 cm width and around 60 cm length. I fold two length sides of the fabric to the middle first, then keep folding it again and sew.